This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. Prosecutors in a Mandan murder trial compared evidence from the crime scene at RJR Maintenance and Management to accused murderer Chad Isaac's personal belongings. He's accused of killing 4 people. While the prosecution says this points the killings toward Isaac, the defense says much of the testimony is based on estimations rather than concrete fact. And to date, there has been no mention of motive. Investigators said after looking at the evidence, they were unable to come up with a motive between the accused and the victims. This coming after the prosecution introduced evidence from Isaac's chiropractic office in Washburn, where they found bullets in a microwave, as well as a calendar which references RJR a few days before the killings. But the defense said this was a reminder to pay rent.
We don't always find motive. We like to know what the motive is, but we don't necessarily find the motive because some people just kill for fun.
Following the submission of Isaac's personal items, the prosecution today brought in a series of DNA and impression specialists who concluded that some items collected among Isaac's possessions had matches to the crime scene, including shoe impressions. However, the defense noticed that the conditions of the personal items, like the shoes, can change over time. They also noted that some studies can have inconsistent factors. Well, we made it to the weekend, and it certainly would be nice to have some decent weather to enjoy, maybe to get out and golf, huh? Let's check in with Hutch to find out about tonight. Hutch?
Well, let me chip in with a little bit of information for your day. First and foremost, we started out mighty cool, didn't we? Take a look at this. Now, we told you last night there'll be some 30s out there. Bemidji, Hallock, Langdon, all in the 30s this morning. A lot of 40s for the rest of us on a crisp start to our Friday, the 13th. Cool northwest winds continue to gust today, over 20 miles per hour. The clouds have stayed at base. Here's that cool pool of air sliding slowly off to the east. Look at the return of the heat out in the western counties. It's still near 90 in the Bismarck area. Taking a look at your evening planner, first and foremost, we're going to have quiet conditions. So whether you're swinging the golf clubs or hanging out in the backyard, we'll stay in those warm 70s for the next couple of hours, 60s for the majority of the night. Open those doors and windows up. Well, maybe not the doors. Open the windows up for the overnight. Give the air conditioner a break. It's going to be another cool start to your day. I'll have details on the return of hot weather here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, let's keep the doors shut.
Yeah, shut your door, would you?
All right, thanks, Hutch.
Yeah.
A 3-year-old girl is dead in Cass County, Minnesota after a 5-year-old boy accidentally shot her this morning. Deputies say it happened at a home in Bena, Minnesota. That's near Bemidji. Family members took the girl to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead. The investigation into this shooting continues. In Valley City, police say they are seeing an influx of dogs and cats running loose. They're reminding residents that your pets need to be licensed within city limits. You can buy a license Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the police department for just $20. And remember, you also have to show current proof of rabies vaccination. If you have any questions, you can call 701-845-3110. West Fargo leaders say that they need more fire stations, 2 to be specific, and they need more staff. Fire Chief Dan Fuller says call volumes are trending up and response times are being pushed outside of acceptable limits. Fuller adds budget needs are going to double over the next 5 years, and these improvements could potentially raise the cost of fire protective services to residents to 33 cents per day. U.S. combat forces have begun deploying to Kabul, with the bulk of the 3,000 Marines and soldiers expected to arrive over the weekend. President Biden ordered the deployment to secure the removal of U.S. civilians, mostly embassy workers and Afghans approved for resettlement through special visas. This as the Pentagon acknowledges Taliban gangs and also a deteriorating security situation.
We're obviously watching this just like you're watching this and seeing it happen in real time, and it's deeply concerning. It's, in fact, the deteriorating conditions are a big factor in why the president has approved this mission.
The Pentagon says between military and civilian planes, the U.S. has the capability to airlift thousands, if necessary, out of Afghanistan. The State Department has ordered a reduction in staff at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, while also issuing special visas for Afghans who served alongside American forces. In COVID cases, the demand for travel insurance is soaring as well. Squaremouth, an online broker for travel insurance, says 30% of its policies are now bought specifically to cover issues related to coronavirus. Reporter Contessa Brewer has our story.
Good morning. If there's one thing travelers learned in the pandemic, it's that stuff happens.
I was pretty concerned that it wouldn't happen pretty much right up until about 3 weeks before we left.
So Michonne Hayes didn't balk at buying travel insurance when she booked her trip for June to Turks and Caicos.
It was about $300 for our family of 4, so it was very affordable for a week-long stay.
Turks and Caicos has joined other destinations requiring tourists carry coverage in case something happens. Allianz, one of the biggest insurers, says claims have skyrocketed 75% since the pandemic began. And demand for travel insurance has soared too. Squaremouth, an online broker for travel insurance, says its sales have grown 67%.
There's certainly been an increase in awareness, a huge change to our demographic. Our average traveler is about 10 years younger than they were before COVID.
Moncrief says all 20 insurers Squaremouth works with offer policies that cover coronavirus if you catch it. But if your travel plans are disrupted by advisories, border closures, quarantines, that may require a cancel for any reason policy.
6 feet.
Squaremouth says travelers can expect to pay about 40% more for that coverage and likely won't get fully reimbursed. Of course, without coverage, travelers will be shelling out the full 100%.
I was more concerned with the cost of having to stay an extra 10 days during a quarantine, which would have been a big hit for us financially that we weren't prepared for. So I was happy to have that insurance.
I'm Contessa Brewer, CNBC Business News.
Travel protection, and you can often buy insurance when you book your trip online. But prices can differ greatly, and so does the coverage. It pays to read the fine point and fine print and also shop around. Minnesota U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar was back home with good news in music and for theaters and venues trying to survive the pandemic. From outside the iconic First Avenue music venue in Minneapolis, the senator highlighted her bipartisan legislation called the Save Our Stages Act. The act created the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program. That allows and has allocated funds to more than 220 Minnesota venues to pay employees and preserve the live entertainment sector. Klobuchar says prior to the pandemic, Minnesota's arts sector contributed over $2 billion annually to the state's economy.
We did not want to let this die, not only because we all love music and we love visiting the theater and music, but also because it's such an important part of our economy.
Payouts are being made through the Small Business Administration, where venues must apply for their share of the more than $16 billion available in federal relief aid. When the website went live back in April, it received more than 17,000 applications in the first 24 hours. Fargo Police Department's Community Trust Officer and LGBTQ liaison says she's excited about the new position. It was added as the department noticed a disconnect with some community members. Officers say that they want to bridge the gap and build relationships so everyone feels comfortable coming to police officers for help. If you don't want to call the police or 911, you can reach out to the LGBTQ liaison directly.
On our website, you can actually contact me directly if you don't feel comfortable calling the police or anything like that. So you can just come to me and I can either take the report or I can reach out to you and we can talk about things.
Fargo's Police Department will offer officers at Pride events this weekend, engaging with the public and handing out stickers. They encourage you to come over and say hi. And speaking of FM Pride weekend, tonight there's a Youth Pride celebration that'll take place at the Avalon Events Center. That's tomorrow Avenue and 3rd Avenue North. And then NP will be closed between Broadway and 4th Street North. These closures will be in effect from 1 till about 4. Your money went to the great cause, right? It's up next on Valley News 5. We're going to tell you how much you raised for the Sanford Children's Hospital.
Did you get a chance to see the Perseid meteor shower the last couple of days? Here's a look from our Devil's Lake location, the home of economy. camera, keeping its eyes on the skies through the overnight hours. Hey, we're looking at that weekend planner next. I'll have details on some hot weather returning to the valley, and we'll talk about the next chance of rain right after this.